Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for the first live reaction and player ratings live stream we've actually done this season, because obviously the other games have been at stupid hours in the morning, so we weren't really streaming after that. But today was at a reasonable time in the middle of Europe, not out in LA or Las Vegas for absolutely no reason whatsoever, other than flying long distances and having jet lag for the players. But we actually won a game. How flipping fantastic. Also, in this 2-minute timer, I've ruined my blinds, so that's fantastic. So I've got to figure those out after we're done streaming here. But on better news, we scored 3 goals. We won a game. Fantastic. As you can see, we're joined by a guest that maybe not all of you know. He's joined us once before, but he's back again. Bertram from holiday in Turkey. Mate, thank you for joining us. I hope you're well. I'm not sure how much of the previous preseason games you actually got to watch, considering they were early in the morning. But as much as it wasn't like the greatest game, we were now thinking we're going to win the league, it was a bit better than the last year.
Oh yeah, it was definitely much better than the Arsenal game. I waited until 3 a.m. to watch that. It was stupid, but yeah, there were some good things in it, and I think we have more reasons to be positive for the next season after watching that than watching the Arsenal game. I thought particularly Kante was good, so yeah, better, much better, and better time to watch it as well.
For sure, absolutely. Pice, as always, mate, thank you for joining us. You're in a similar vibe to myself and Bertram, just as much as it wasn't incredible, still a lot better, and we're a bit happier here. Certainly then after the Arsenal game, but even after, well, Charlie, we lost the penalties, but even after Club America, we weren't like exactly all buzzing. Although I will say, I'm not sure if Udinese is any better than Club America. They might even be worse. Obviously, we will be better by now than we were at the time. But Udinese, other than a few individuals, they really, like, they could not defend to save their lives, honestly. But hey, still, positives to take. So, what are your feelings, Spice?
Yeah, look, I enjoyed watching it for once. I thought our pressing and counter pressing was really good. I think every time, unfortunately they got a goal on a counter, but most of the times that they tried to go forward, we kind of just pressed them into mistakes. They were trying balls down the line, and either we'd intercept it or we'd, as I said, we'd press them into mistakes, and that was something that I think we lacked last season a little bit, especially in the second half of the season. I don't think our press was as good. Obviously, we had Lukaku, but even when Havertz was starting and stuff, it was clearly not the same. So I liked the old vibes back, like right when Tuchel first joined. I thought the press was really good. Yeah, we and the thing is today, like Udinese, we actually forced them to defend. Like they were naturally sitting back in a low block, like most Italian sides do. I think they finished mid-table in Serie A last season.
Yeah,
so yeah, I don't know exactly where they finished, but you saw their game plan. They were trying to make it difficult for us, but yeah, really nice combination play from the front three. I thought we passed it a lot quicker, and we had chances, not like loads of one-on-ones or absolute sitters, but we had chances, and I just thought we was more positive overall. Like there was less sideways passing, in my opinion. We were quite penetrative. That came from my feelings came from Sterling's goal, especially. Obviously, it was lucky, but you watch Jorginho's entry pass into him, like it was a straight like penetrative pass. Can't say that word, but you know what I mean. And like other like last season, just in general, I think maybe Jorginho might have played that sideways to Reece or something. He doesn't go for that ball, so it was just I don't know.
Great pass.
It looked like we had a point to prove, and damn so right after that awful Arsenal performance.
Yeah, no, 100%. The only unfortunate thing is that we just didn't make it count again. Like, even by half-time, it should have been 3 or 4-0, really. But it wasn't. And in the second half, yeah, we got one at the very end. But, yeah, it just felt a lot like last season in our decent times, Obviously, not Lukaku, I get that, and Sterling was bringing some things, but in Koulibaly, how different does it really feel to Rudiger when we're just playing again like that? Feels relatively similar, which is a huge compliment to Koulibaly, by the way. But yeah, it just felt like when we had decent games, but not amazing games last season. Like we controlled games, we played reasonably well, we created chances, we scored our goals, but not anywhere near as many as we could have done, and not like we didn't reward our nicest bit of plays and our nicest moves with goals. Well, in the Sterling case, yes, we did, but that was kind of made lucky by the messed up chip and stuff. So it just felt like a game of last season, which is the only slightly disappointing pick, because I'm like, I want improvement, but hey, compared to Arsenal and even compared to the Charlie game, it was significant improvement. Now, just to clear it up for people that might not be aware of this. Now, obviously, tonight, if you weren't aware, we played against Udinese in Udinese. Well, in Udine, but anyway. Tomorrow morning, both teams are going to face each other again with basically the second halves of their squad. That's why there was no Kovacic on the bench today, no Chilwell on the bench today, no Broja, no Pulisic, no Hakim Ziyech, no Chalobah. That's why all these players weren't involved today, because they're going to play against Udinese tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Now, I'm not sure if it's 10 a.m. UK time or 10 a.m. Italian time. Not sure.
10 a.m. UK.
UK? Okay, there you go. Now, Pice, you put earlier in the group chat that according to CFC Daily, Udinese will stream again. Now, is that true, or have you found out more about it then, or is it wrong?
Even better, it's on the fifth stand. So,
there you go. I'm not sure if I'll stream again after
the website. Website or fifth stand. I'm actually looking forward to it because there's quite a few players I actually want to watch. So yeah, looking forward to it.
It is true. It is true. Well, I'm looking forward to that as well. 11 a.m. Not quite sure why they had to start that early, but I guess it just gets too hot in the afternoon. But fair enough. So yeah. But just as an explanation for everybody watching, that's why a lot of players weren't involved, because they will be involved tomorrow. Now, am I still a fan of Alonso playing today in what is probably our strongest team in Tuchel's head? Now, that, of course, can change with good performances in that game tomorrow, and there's a couple of behind closed doors friendlies back at Cobham, I think, planned for the rest of the week, and then just in the build-up to Everton, just in training. If you do well, I'm sure you can still win a spot. But the fact that Alonso's starting over Chilwell is concerning. Now, do I understand it? Yes, of course, because Chile hasn't played properly football. He's only played two halves since, obviously, pre-season. Hopefully, we'll play 90 minutes tomorrow, ideally. But I understand it. The problem is just we're not even linked to left wing back. That's the part that concerns me, essentially. Like, understand it. No, go at Alonso, or Tuchel, or any of them. It's fair enough. I understand that he's not fully fit, but sign someone, please. Do you know what I mean? But hey, we can't even sign centre-backs these days. So that's a whole different discussion for a whole different other day. Now, Bertram, let me get to you. Before we talk about just today's game, obviously you've hinted at the Arsenal game already, but what have you made of pre-season so far? It's been quite depressing. Like, honestly, until today, I was thinking, I can't remember the last time we've had this bad of a pre-season. We've turned it around a little bit today, but would you have agreed with that for the pre-season so far, or did you not think it was quite as bad as a lot of people on Twitter try to make it out to be at the moment?
I'm going to be honest. I normally just look at the results, and I think it is preseason, so we'll be more up for it than others. I remember, like, in Lampard's first season, we drew against like Bohemians or Shamrock Rovers or whoever it was. I normally results, but I thought we looked so tired, and especially the Arsenal and a little bit of the Charlotte game as well, and that concerned me a bit because I could understand we're flying way out to the States to play a couple of games in one city and then move to another city and then another city, and the heat as well. You know, when you watch the interviews of like Sterling and Koulibaly and Tuchel, they've all said the heat and the humidity was terrible. So I thought, it wouldn't be able to play some games in. But I think, I hope, maybe more hope, that's kind of brought the team together because they look like they've had fun during them. But when I look at the performances, I think I was very worried, especially after the Arsenal game, when I saw, it was 4-0. We watched the whole game, and we just looked tired, which is I don't think we can take performances that much from them, but the lack of them was staggering, and so much better than us. Even being us 4-0 was terrible. But I think this game has definitely cheered me up because we looked much more on it. I saw Chelsea Twitter already. I think it was Dubois already booked the tickets to the Champions League final, which was nice. Finally getting some positivity in. I thought it would look better today. So I booked my final tickets as well after today. But I don't think we can take that much.
Love that.
I think we
unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, if we do win the Champions League, Bertram will not be here on the stream because he will be at the Champions League final. So that's how it goes. One thing I wanted to say before I go to that game, because so many people have always spoken about the heat, and I'm like, well, this is obviously tough to train in. I'm like, there is some logic to it because obviously, if you train in the boiling heat and you manage it, then you know how easy it's going to be when it's a normal temperature. So if you're fit enough to handle to run and play games in the crazy heat, then it's going to be much easier, and you're going to be much more fitter and have much more stamina when you go back to England where it's 20 degrees and, well, half the winter 5 degrees. Do you know what I mean? So there is some logic to that. Obviously, high altitude is there as well, which we didn't do, mind you. But yeah, the humidity helps as well just because it makes everything tougher. So then when you get to a less humid climate, it's easier again. Do you know what I mean? So at least there's that positive, but it probably doesn't make it as, I don't know, enjoyable at the time because it's just grueling. But isn't that what preseason is supposed to be? It's supposed to be grueling. It's not supposed to be just a laugh, you know? You're supposed to prepare yourself for the season. That's why it's called preseason. But let's go into tonight's game because there was not necessarily a huge shock in terms of who played. There's a couple. I'll ask Pisces and Bertram's opinion in just a second. But there was one change in particular, even though it's not personnel change, but position change in the front three. Now, of course, even against Arsenal, we started the first half with Mount, Sterling and Havertz as our front three. But in that game, it was Havertz in the middle, Sterling off the left. No, actually, that's not true. We played with Werner as well, but all of these three at least played, right? But it was Sterling is kind of off the left and Havertz was up top with Werner. But this time, it was Sterling for the most part down the middle, Havertz on the right, Mount on the left. But obviously, this also moved around like this, where then it was kind of like this at times, and then it switched around again, and they were just on the same levels. Just because they moved around so much, I'm going to put them on the same level because sometimes Sterling was higher, sometimes the other two were higher, sometimes one of the other two was higher. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just going to put it up like this, but that's essentially what we have. Now, guys, any big surprises in there? Obviously, with us having in mind that the Kovacic's, the Chilwell, they will play 90 minutes, hopefully at least, or at least 75 plus tomorrow. Otherwise, a big surprise in there. My biggest surprise is probably Aspie over Chalobah. If I'm honest, as much as Chalobah hasn't been great, the fact that Aspie really wants to leave, as much as there is seemingly talk of us considering forcing him to stay, essentially, that's the big surprise. And potentially for you, the Kante over Kovacic, I guess. I mean, Kovac came back from a small injury and Kante did nothing but train. So I guess he was more than fresh and fit. But what did you make of the team when he came up, guys?
I don't know how much I want to really judge it because I don't know how exactly Tuchel's picked it for certain players. Like Chilwell, like why does he not play with this team instead of Alonso? I'm not sure. Same with Kovacic, but I guess Kante makes more sense because you do want to get him, you know, in and around the first team because this pretty much is the first team bar a few players, as you said. Aspie, Chalobah, I don't know. Potentially Chalobah could have played. But again, I mean, Chalobah's last two games, obviously he's made mistakes. So, yeah, I'm not really sure. It'd be interesting to see how many minutes certain players play tomorrow. I don't know how, like it's easy for me to say, well, put Kovacic on the bench here and let Gilmour play tomorrow. It's like start Gilmour tomorrow, but I don't know how exactly him and his coaching team have planned it, to be honest with you. So I don't know. It's all very confusing for me because we've got such a big squad.
I'd assume in terms of pecking order, you as the player, you'd prefer to start tomorrow than be on the bench today because then you don't get to start either. Do you know what I mean? And none of the subs today played more than 25 minutes. So you'd rather have at least an hour than 25 minutes, right? So,
yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I don't know. I think more the subs bench. I was like, I'm not sure why.
Like whatever we have left over from who's not starting tomorrow.
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know how he's planned it or what he's thinking. But the only surprise really for me was when we started was obviously Sterling was up front. I thought Havertz would be, but actually, you know, they alternated really well. There was moments where Sterling was on the left, Mount was on the right, Havertz was up front. There was moments where Havertz went in the middle, Sterling was on the right. So, I definitely noticed like the fluidity and the interchangeable front three that they had. They clearly had connection. That was nice to see, in my opinion.
I enjoyed that as well. I do agree. Now, Bertram, much of a reaction when the team came out on your end? Like, were you annoyed, shocked at anyone that started?
I just saw the team. I was like, when you're playing the last preseason game, like the first team you'd play for first game of the season, and I was quite shocked to see Alonso and Aspie. But seeing as we play them again tomorrow at like 11 Central European time, I think it makes sense to change it up a bit. But I thought when I watched the game, it surprised me as well that Sterling would be playing centrally. But I thought he was very good there, and I thought we looked good. But I think definitely pretty much Alonso surprised me, and when we played, Kante surprised me as well about how. But in general, I think this is pretty much the team, like Pai said, barring a few players that's going to start against Everton. So I thought it was pretty bog standard for one of the last preseason games.
There you go. I would probably agree. Now, before we get into the details of all the ratings, which we will get to very soon, I do actually want to talk about the game a little bit overall as well. It's only 3 of us here, so we can't do that without sitting here for 2.5 hours. Because it was interesting. Now, if you went on Twitter, there was half the people that were like, our midfield is awful because they run through us all the time. And then there was the other half that said, our midfield is amazing because we press high. Kante is doing his run, scored a great goal. Jorginho was playing wonderful passes left, right, and centre. And now, it's just what happens when you play a super aggressive midfield, especially if one of them is very slow. Like, we were super good on the press, like Pies explained earlier. We were so high as a whole team. We were so aggressive. But when they did manage to get through us, of course they're going to run through you. But is that something where you're like, Jorginho should be doing better? Or is that just what, like, you can't expect any player to win every tackle. Like that, no one does that, right? So when you play as high and as aggressively as we did, and you play someone that's as slow as Jorginho is, that's what's going to happen, right? Like, it will happen sometimes. That's why we play with the back three, that when we do that, which is why Jorginho as a single six is a little bit less of a concern like this. But anyway, in this position, that's why we play a back three behind them. So when that does happen, we have plenty of players to catch that up. But yeah, I really enjoyed the press, like Pi said. I liked how we were aggressive. I liked how Jorginho was direct. And I liked, especially early in the first half, the fluidity and the creation that we had. But we just don't take our chances. Like, Sterling missed a one-on-one, then nearly missed another one-on-one, but thankfully scored it. Obviously, Kounde with a wonderful goal on his left foot. Like, no idea where he's got that one from. But fantastic, I'll take it. But then Havertz missed some chances that he should have done a bit better with. And there was a few more, like, where it was just misunderstandings, like Mount to Sterling, when I feel like Sterling thought the second Sterling thought Mount would shoot, Mount decided to pass. Sterling had just run forward, so Mount passed it to where Sterling was just stood, and then Sterling wasn't there anymore. And then whose fault is that? Well, both of theirs, but it's neither of theirs. It's just misunderstanding, right? And that happened too many times when Kai tried to cut it back to Sterling. Sterling was going directly to the goal line, but Kai tried to cut it back, and then all of a sudden Sterling was there anymore, tried to backheel it. So we still have those just moments where we don't quite get it over the line, and the concern is that's been us for 2 years, really, that we create chances but don't take them. Obviously, not always last season, which is the problem, but now we've got rid of Lukaku, we can create chances again, so that's great news. But we still can't score them. So hopefully we can fix that with Sterling. I bloody hope so. But yeah, it was certainly good to see, even if Jorginho Kovacic is certainly good, it was certainly good to see Kante's energy in midfielding, and that's what I felt. Now, I didn't quite agree on quite the hype train that a lot of people have thrown on Kante again, that he was that incredible, because he was good. But how many attacks did he ruin? Like, he passed it out of play just twice. He misplaced 2 or 3 really easy attacking passes, which could have had huge chances. And twice he slowed the game down so much, we could have been 1-1 on goal, and he waited until Udinese was out again. I was so confused. But there was other moments where it was so good. So that's why I'm going to struggle with these ratings, because there was moments I'm like, Kante, come on, please, a bit better. But then there was other moments where he was so good again, and then throughout he was just good. You know what I mean? Like, just good, and then crazy good moments, and then some bad moments. So it's difficult how to rate it, but we'll get to that later. But I'll get back to you, Bertrand, before I let Price add some more to his summary from earlier. But how did you see it? Obviously, you said you were particularly happy with Kante when the game actually was happening, but how did you see how we played? Obviously, in general, what we did last season. But I felt like Price said earlier, we haven't been this aggressive in a while, which is good to see. It was a bit of a reaction to Arsenal, but like I also said earlier, Udinese weren't that great. Oh, go on, Bertram. Sorry, that was to you. Whether you'd agree with that, or what do you think of that?
Yeah, about the Kante statement, I would say he looked so poor last season. So seeing him turn into Messi very quickly and just score that goal might have hyped me. But I was just happy to see him run again, basically. But yeah, I thought we were very I don't know about aggressive, because I thought, during part of last season we kind of lost, and that kind of showed. But yeah, I thought we were we pressed in the game where we were good in the press, and it showed through our aggressivity. But yeah, I would agree on the Kante statement, but I thought he looked much better fit than the other players, and definitely than he did through last season, which got me a bit excited, because I saw I can't remember who I saw it was, but they said he was like our De Bruyne, our Salah, our Rolls Royce of a player turns up. So I'm personally just very happy to see him back. But yeah, definitely a piece of improvement on what we saw definitely in the other games, but also through the end of last season.
There you go, Pies. Now, on your end, other than the aggressiveness which you touched on earlier, or the press, whichever way you want to describe it, did you think we did anything different, or was the rest just what we do with, other than Koulibaly and Sterling, with the same players we always had?
I think the surprise, or the nice surprise for me, was that I just haven't seen us. Like, I don't know, just especially the front three. I haven't seen us like play that fluid in ages. So it was just a nice, return to the old days under Tuchel for me. So yeah, look, I think we could have scored more goals, absolutely, but I think we played well. I think most aspects we did really well, especially the pressing, the counter pressing. Alonso did mess up a few attacks. He definitely slowed our play down as usual. But yeah, I think overall we played pretty well. And we did set those high standards. Although people don't believe it, but we did play good football under Tuchel a while back. It's just we kind of lost our way last season, so it was a nice surprise. Especially in the Champions League when we won it, that campaign. We was so fluid, so good on the ball, so positive. I go back to those games in the knockouts where people say, "Oh, we was lucky."
Would you say that it's because we just remember the good games? That's why we think that. Because how many Premier League games also in that run, while we dominated everyone in the Champions League, how many Premier League games did we have between those Champions League games where we were just bang average, drew 1-1?
We still had a lot of XG though. That's the point.
I mean?
Like we still had a lot of. We used to create chances all the time, and that's the reason why.
That's true for sure.
That's the reason why everyone wanted Lukaku, because we was all here saying, "Oh look, if we just had someone in the box to put them home, well look, we'd win everything." But in actual fact, getting a striker kind of messed up our overall play. I don't know whether it's just Lukaku or whether that would be different with someone else, but it's
that would be interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like today, it's like, for me, in certain situations, like, where Mount is, for example, where he should have shot, like, if we had someone different, would that go in? Would they hesitate? You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, what is the solution?
Do you think it's that wrong, though, that he tries to pass it in that moment? I think it just
Yeah,
looks bad in the end.
I watched it absolutely.
They had the misunderstanding. It doesn't really matter whether he shoots or passes as long as it's a goal. I don't think there's a right or a wrong.
He's got to shoot there
work, and he didn't.
He had to shoot there for me. Like, it just, I can't, like, you're on the ball. Like, he's a perfect position. Like, I don't know. Yeah, even stuff like when Havertz got near the box and stuff like that, and it was like he tried to cut it back and he'd hit the first defender, or the step overs in that situation where he injured his shoulder. Like, is a better, like a higher quality player going to do better there and score? Like, I don't know, cut in and shoot. Why is I don't know. Like, what is the solution? Because this is clearly going to be, our attack for probably a lot of the games. So, if we create these chances, is it enough to win the league? Absolutely not. No. But at the same time,
no. It definitely is.
Absolutely not. But at the same time, it's like, well, you add a striker, or like you bring someone else in. Like, say you play Sterling and Mount, and you bring a striker in. Well, would that actually be any better than this front three in terms of our overall play? Like
that's the fascinating thing. We'll see what happens tomorrow with Broja, how he deals with it. But
it's just so hard to, like, I don't know, because I used to really enjoy how we played. It was just that final touch, and that's kind of what it was like tonight. We still won, but there are going to be Premier League games where we're going to be sitting here, we're going to draw,
and then that Sterling goal doesn't go in, and then we never get that late goal, and we're going to be like easier.
Yeah, and we're going to be like, well, look, we're just missing that final touch. And then people will go, right, well, next time we need a striker. We'll get a striker, and then it'll be...
And then everyone's going to go, oh, release clause off Tammy, he's going to fix all the problems. And he won't, but it's not his fault either.
Exactly. Like, I don't know how you get... Like, I don't know how we get to that point where we get to the winning league. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Change the system.
Well, I mean, but again, like, that's the same point. If we played 4 at the back, would we get 2 more chances a game? Yeah, but would we put them away? I don't know.
If we worked on the 4 at the back for longer than 2 hours compared to what we saw against Arsenal, then yes.
Yeah, well, I didn't
if we
like that
actually worked on
formation
it since
anyway.
last year, which we all prayed and hoped for, but we still can't seem to do anything in the back 4.
I
But
didn't like that formation anyway.
yeah, no,
I think we need different
I didn't
midfielders
either.
for that as well.
I didn't either.
Yeah, there's a lot to do. Like I think play a back 4 consistently. I still think we need a different profile in midfielder. So I don't know. It's a long term thing.
It depends on what back 4 we play. Like there's so many different ones. Like
we
a 4-4-2 is not the same as a 4-3-3, or even a 4-2-3-1 is different again. So
I think people just need to realize, like, we're all impatient, but even I understand that we can't fix everything in one summer. So yeah.
No, that is very, very true. And just as the reaction to Mneezy's comment here, now Bertram is doing me a favor, if anything, because Clutch was unavailable, which I was unaware of until quite short notice. And then Hussein, who you've seen once before as well, he was supposed to be on, but then he had to cancel, unfortunately. So then a message Bertram again, can you actually come on? And we were like, should we do it with hotel Wi-Fi? He's on holiday, mate. So let him off. He's doing his best. And I appreciate it very much. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get to the player ratings, which I will get to now, with over 400 people watching again, which I massively appreciate, ladies and gentlemen, smash that like button. And you know what I'll be getting out now? A wonderful subscribe sign from last time. If you were here last time, credit to you, the worst subscribe sign you've ever seen. But so we can afford nicer subscribe signs, what you need to do is go subscribe. So please hit that subscribe button down below. Help us get to 50,000 subscribers. And like I say, smash the like button and help us spread these videos out to more people. But one thing we haven't spoken about yet is Mendy, because we've tried to focus on the positives, but Mendy was most certainly not a positive. Like, what on earth was he doing? Yeah, you can talk about, they ran through our midfield too easily. Yeah, sorry, but we're also supposed to have a goalkeeper. Like, come on now. You can't say, it's the midfield's fault. Sorry, if your goalkeeper can't save that, then you need to get in the bin. Like, no. Like, that is unbelievable. There was barely any power on that shot. He should have saved it. He could have saved, caught it. He could have held onto that with one arm. Instead, he didn't even palm it wide properly. He palmed it straight into the path of the player. And then he should have saved the rebound shot as well, but messed that one up as well. What is he doing? Unbelievable. So I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what he was doing. I was very baffled. But yeah, I hope Mendy finds his form. Mendy's been struggling for a little while, towards the end of last season, in pre-season, penalties we know he's bad at penalties, but he really didn't look good against Charlotte. He could have done better for a couple of the goals against Arsenal, I thought. It's not been ideal. Now, Pice, what rating would you give him? Obviously we only conceded 1 goal, but how many other saves did he have to make that were serious saves? They were difficult, none. He had 1 shot, which was an easy catch, and a couple of crosses that he had to deal with. But otherwise, it was really only that one, and he messed that one up royally.
Yeah, I was going to give him a 6 for being average, but for that goal, not only was it the palm away, which was bad, I thought, watch it on the replay, Deulofeu scuffed the shot. For me, he could have saved that as well. I think it went under or over his arms. Yeah, I do share the same concerns as you as well. He definitely, second half of last season, he was, not good. But the first half, he was brilliant. He made some fantastic saves in the first half of the season.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him a 5.5 just because obviously it didn't affect that result too much in the end, and it was pre-season. But if that's in the Premier League and we end up drawing, I don't know, it's
pretty human again. Yeah, no, for sure. It's very interesting. Obviously, there's always they keep being reports about Lazio apparently being interested in Kepa. There keep being reports of Napoli apparently being interested in Kepa, but no one ever does anything. So I'm not sure if anything will ever come from that, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now, Bertram, 5.5 from Pice's end. Would you agree with that? Would you go a little bit lower? I don't think you're going to go higher, but what would you go for Mendy?
Yeah, I think I would 5-6 as well, average. I didn't think he was as good. I think the shot sometimes as a goalkeeper is just difficult when it gets. I saw he rushed out as well, so maybe if he would have stayed closer to his goal line, he would have pumped it out for a corner. But sometimes you risk it to go out, and in the hopes that you make the goal smaller as the further you go out. But yes, Mendy is such an unorthodox goalkeeper. The way he moves, the way he catches stuff, it's quite weird. So I'd give him a 6 as well, and I hope holds it up for the start of the season like he did last season when we had that crazy run of going a couple of months into the season with only conceding 4 goals. But yeah, I'd agree with a 5.5.
Fair enough. See, I would have even gone for the 5 because I think he messed it up twice, so I can't even just take half a point away. And he didn't have to do anything other than those two things. And he messed them both up, so I would have gone 5. But if you boys both go for the 5.5, I will let you have that. Now, Aspie, bit of a question mark as to why he's playing, especially in this supposedly stronger side of the team, considering he really badly wants to leave. I mean, Simon Johnson from The Athletic made it also clear that he thinks we should just force Aspie to stay, which I do see. Like, rather than signing two more centre backs from now on, so 3 in total, I'd rather just keep Aspie than doing that, because that's just stupid. But just buy another centre back and buy some flipping wing backs. I cannot comprehend how we're not linked to more wing backs. It pisses me right off. I mean, the link to Dumfries that was there for half a second and then it was gone again, and no one's mentioned it again since. But yeah, Aspie, he wasn't great. He wasn't awful. I'm going to give him a 6. I liked in the first half, he was certainly better than the second half. It just seemed like, well, the whole team got a bit more tired, but I've personally felt like it kind of affected Aspie a bit more, maybe. But yeah, so I'm going to give him an average 6. There was some good moments, there was some not so good moments, but overall, I'd say about average. Bertram, would you agree, or do you think he was better than a 6?
No, I would have given him a 5.56 as well. I thought he was, didn't really stand out for me. He was just one of those players that was there. You know what you get from Aspie. So yeah, I would have given. I agree with the 6. If you would have said 5, I would have gone with it as well. Just sort of an average rating from a guy who will give everything for Chelsea, but really shouldn't be playing this game. Realistically,
no, probably not. So you agreed with the 6 in the end?
Yeah, I think so.
There you go, fair play. Pice, on your end, 6 fair as well, or did you have anything more to criticize that maybe myself and Bertram didn't pick up or didn't mention yet?
No, I think 6. Didn't make any defensive errors or didn't really do anything. So he wasn't really tested really down that side either. So from what I remember, yeah, I'll give him a 6, average rating.
Fair enough, Pice. You know what? Let's just stick with you. Let's go across the back three. Sorry, Thiago Silva obviously got knocked on his head twice. The poor guy. But in general, his usual self, calm, collected when he needs to defend. Sometimes I wish he passed it a little bit faster, but maybe that's what happens when you're 37. You pass it a little bit slower. Maybe, I don't know. But good, better than Aspie, I would say, just because he stood out and looking more, I don't know, more composed, more in control of things. So that's why I probably would have given him a 7, but I'm happy to be convinced otherwise on that one. Price, what do you think?
Yeah, there was one moment in the box where I think they attacked and he defended it quite well. He kind of laid it out for a goal kick. Can't remember what minute it was. I mean, other than that, yeah, kept control of the ball. I didn't notice the slowness in passing. Maybe you did more than me. I was watching Koulibaly more, to be honest.
Less so than that it annoyed me that he passed this so slowly, but I was sitting there thinking, if we just pass it a little bit quicker, that would help. So it's not like saying, oh, it was super slow. It was more like if it was a bit quicker, that would have been even better. It's more like that.
Yeah. I'm gonna go 6.5 for Silva.
Okay. Fair.
He was close, by the way. He was close to getting his head on a couple of crosses. And I was watching it. It was so close. I thought he was going to score one of them, but yeah, that would have got him high rating for me.
For sure. That extra couple of inches that he maybe misses to be, I mean, he's already one of the all-time great centre backs. But if he had 2 inches more, maybe he would be more in the, I don't know, Maldini, John Terry bracket than he already is. Maybe he already is in that more than I give him credit for. I do apologize if you think so. Bertram, I might have agreed with Pice and lowered my own rating to 6.5 because, now that I think about it, was it really a full point better than Aspie? Maybe not. But maybe you do think so. So what would you give him?
Yeah, I would give him a 7. It might be a bit of the placebo effect, but I would give him a 7. I thought he was very good, very calm as usual.
You said placebo, and like because of the internet, I was like, you just say the pussy effect? What the fuck?
I thought he said that as well. Like, what effect?
So no, I just whenever I watch, I feel like whatever he does is just the right thing. So I thought he was good. I just generally thought he was the things he was doing. Whenever I watch him, he's doing something, it's probably right. But I thought the way he passed it, the way the leader in the center of defense, I thought I thought it was definitely a point better than Aspie. If you would have said a 7.5, I would have agreed with you as well. So I would definitely personally give him a 7. But if you both go 6.5, then I'm
now you know what, you've
voted
convinced me the
down.
other direction again. Sorry, Pice. Badger has convinced me. I'm going to go for the 7. But Pice loves Thiago Silva, so he's definitely not going to throw a fit about us giving Thiago Silva a higher rating. Thiago Koulibaly, his first start for Chelsea. What a fantastic time to be alive. Another wonderful slide tackle. Otherwise, not really that challenged. And, challenge is the best word I can think of right now. Defensively. But on the ball, I liked it. There was some lovely, little intricate passes where I'm like, see, this is what not every centre-back does. And I like it. I'm a big fan. Unfortunately, he made one great run. Unfortunately, Mount then messed the pass up so we would have seen our first glimpse of, Koulibaly's Rudiger gene, because you know how Rudiger always goes on the mad runs and ends up in the box somewhere. Koulibaly went for one of those, but unfortunately the ball didn't find him. So that would have been fun to see. But yeah, I really like this performance. I thought it was a teeny tiny tad better than Silva, which is why maybe I was considering the 6.5 for Silva as well, because I thought maybe a 7.5 would just be too high for any defender today, considering we conceded, albeit it was Mendy's fault and not any of the centre-backs really. Who gives a shit? I'm waffling. I'll give him a 7.5. Let's see whether the boys agree. Bertram, let's switch it around again. Would you agree that he was better than Silva, or would you disagree with that?
Yeah, I thought they were pretty much just as good. I think we keep thinking he's a little bit better because he's a new player, but I would have given him and Silva the same rating. And I think we should just agree that Rudiger just never played these couple of years, and we just signed Koulibaly in 2016, so he's been here all the time. I think this makes much more sense. But I would definitely give him a 7. Imagine if we've had this guy since 2016 or 17, whenever we were linked with him. It would have been,
you know what a long time ago certain players would have left had we just had Koulibaly. Do you know what I mean? But fair enough. A 7.5 from my end, a 7 from Bertram. Now, Pice, you gave Thiago Silva 6.5. So would you then say that the 7.5 for Koulibaly is too high?
I was going to go 7. For me, you had 2 good defensive actions, which, I mean, in itself is good because they didn't really attack a lot because we had the ball the whole time. The tackle, which was really good, and then there was one by the corner flag where he defended it really well. He got beat one time on the wing, and then they started an attack from it, but it didn't really come to anything, so I kind of ignored it. But yeah, still mental note. But yeah, I'll go over 7. I thought he was good on the ball, which is, I was watching him because he did play left centre back, and half the time he was using his left foot anyway. So, I knew this about Koulibaly anyway, but it's just nice to see it, for Chelsea that he's going to be comfortable playing, second centre back, right centre back, left centre back. But interestingly, we haven't seen him at right centre back yet. But again, what's the difference? I mean, he's right footed, so he's good. He's got all the attributes to succeed.
At this point, who knows, mate? If only Tuchel would know whether he wants a left or a right side centre back, that would already be a start.
Maybe this is a sign.
Could know that we could go somewhere.
Maybe this is a sign. Who knows? His first start, he starts on the left. Maybe it's a sign.
Maybe it is. Although, who else would have played in the left? Malong Sarr or what? Because Colwell's injured. So who else as the squad
Emerson.
is as of today? Who else? Yeah, well, yeah, okay, but that's then players out of position. That's even worse. But hey, fair play. So a 7 for Koulibaly and a 7 for Thiago Silva. Not going to disagree with it all too much. Let's get to the wing backs. And I have a shocker for everybody. Marcos Alonso played, and I don't think he was our worst wingback. Now, people might call me crazy for this, but I thought James was pretty bad. Now, again, I said this on the last stream already, because I have very, very high expectations of Reece James. Now, if Reece James and Alonso have an equally good game, in player ratings, I would probably give Reece James a worse rating because I expect him to be, a trillion times better than Marcos Alonso, right? But I thought, if anything, it was worse. Now, first half especially, Deulofeu kept beating him over and over and over again. He kept being out-muscled. I was like, excuse me, who are you and what have you done to Reece James? I've never seen Reece James get out-muscled ever. Then he took an awful free kick. He took a couple of awful crosses. And then when Callum Hudson-Odoi came on, I was like, finally someone that crosses the ball properly. That's generally what I thought today. And Reece was also never involved. He was... I don't know. I don't know. I really didn't like his performance. I'm going to go quite low. I'm going to give him a 4. I was really not pleased. I'm like, to me, honestly, he looked like he couldn't be bothered to play this friendly now. That's what he seemed like to me. And yeah, he sometimes has this a little bit of a swagger look, which maybe if he doesn't play so well, maybe can come across like he isn't bothered. But yeah, I feel like you can't be muscled off and look like you're not that bothered. Like, no, you're Reece James. You don't get muscled off. So I'm going to give him a low rating for getting muscled off twice in the space of, 5 minutes? Not about that. Absolutely not. But, Pice, do you think I'm being too harsh? Probably, but yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be that harsh to give him a 4. I was going to give him like a 5 or a 5.5. I mean, Mendy's got a 5.5, and like I don't know, James didn't cost us a goal or anything, so
but
yeah,
overall was much worse than Mendy, in my opinion.
I don't think he was really involved or had to be involved, in my opinion.
But that's the problem. He's one of our best players. He should make sure he is involved because that's what makes.
I know, but it's also nice sometimes that he's not our best player every single game, because that means then other players are actually doing something.
It's nice in the grand scheme of things, but for his individual rating, like
I just think I definitely disagree. I think Alonso definitely messed up more attacks and was just worse on the ball in general. But I do agree that it was not as, it wasn't like a Reece James-esque performance. But, I also agree that, I don't really think he was not up for it. Like, I just think it was kind of like, it's one of these games, like it's pre-season. But then again, I shouldn't really excuse him for that, because Mount was fighting like it was a Champions League final game out there tonight. So, I don't know what to give him, because Mendy's rating is annoying me. Like, I don't know.
Well, you can change it. I gave him a 5, so if you want to lower Mendy's rating,
Mendy 5 for me, and then James 5.5, because he didn't cost us a goal, but he was below average in my opinion.
Okay, Bertram. Now, because I'm not yet sure where to go with this, because 4 and 5.5, we don't do 0.25 ratings usually, unless we go really crazy. But for now, we won't. So let me ask you, what would you give him? So maybe they can help us find our final rating.
I personally give him a 4.5 because I thought Stanley sets he was under bad, but I think the way he plays, it's kind of with that swagger. He never quite seems that bothered. He's just normally very good. So when he plays bad and looks like that, it's just double as worse as normally. So I just give him a 4.5, just a bit under average with his general play, but nothing contagious. So that's just my rating from him.
Fair play. Now, we're probably somewhere there's 4.75, but I'm just going to put a 4.5 down. It's my channel, right? Because, anyway. Alonso, now that after Pice said Alonso definitely ruined more attacks than James, I was like, I do agree with that. So what do I think now? But I think that's partly because James just didn't involve himself in attacks anywhere near as much as he should. And as much as Alonso pisses me off, he at least somehow always makes sure he gets on the bloody ball. Like, he might lose it half the time, but he makes sure he gets the bloody ball. I mean, sure, it's because... Well, no, it's not even sure. Because usually we also attack down the right way more than on the left. But today, if anything, we use the left more. Now, could that just be to do that with that usually Mount plays on the right and today Mount playing the left? The haters will say no, but it might be true. So I do agree with Pice that Alonso ruined more attacks. He was also beaten on the, maybe not as often as James, but I feel like it's just because he didn't play against Deulofeu, who's just way better. Or probably Udinese's best attacking player, at least. So, I feel like giving Alonso a 4 is too harsh. But like I say, it's more because I just think of James so highly. Do I think Alonso was actually much better than James? No. But because he is so much worse when he plays similarly as good/bad as Reece James, that makes me want to almost give him a 10. Do you know what I mean? Because Reece James is so good and Alonso is so bad. But I'm going to give him a 5. Because for Alonso standards, he wasn't as bad as I'm used to. Might not be fair. Kill me if you want. But that's what I'm going to go for. You know what? You'd think I'm going to switch it around, but I'm going to mix it up. I'll go for Pice again. You gave James a 5.5. Would you agree with Alonso's 5? Or, if you only look at your own personal ratings rather than what it says on screen?
No, I'm going to have to go for... I'm going to go with a 4, because he just annoyed me. He's too slow. He tried to drag two players to commit a foul because he got beat once, or twice. Yeah, he just slows down our play, and I don't want to see him starting for Chelsea. I think any other competent left wing back with pace and a bit of ability does miles better, especially when Sterling was down the left hand side, bro. Like Sterling was ignoring him, going to other players, which I found
True, it
funny
is true.
because he wasn't even making the runs down the wing, bro. Like what the hell? You were supposed to be a left wing back, and now you want to play in the middle of the pitch. Like make your mind up whether you want to be a striker, a left wing back, or not. You know what I mean? Like or stay as a
Mate,
defender. Like
I would have still the least problems if Tuchel all of a sudden turned up starting Alonso at striker. I would not have any complaints. I
I
wouldn't.
just don't
Like for a
understand
game
it.
or two, I would be willing to see what happens. I honestly would be willing to see what happens.
I just don't understand it. Like he either play like he usually so high up the pitch, either down down the wing as a left wing back or almost at striker sometimes. But in this game, for me, he was kind of just hovering around the middle of the pitch, and then that led to him getting beat. And every time he did make those runs, he made one good low cross to. Was it
Havertz.
Mount or Havertz? One of them two. But other than that, bro, there was times where he was running down the wing, and then I thought put a cross in now, and he'd cut back and he'd play it back in the middle. I'm like, just go forward, you snail! Like, oh, he's so annoying. Sorry.
Yeah,
4.
no, he really is. Did you say you were going to give him a 4? What did you say? Remind me, please.
I'm gonna go with 4 just because he really annoys me, and I don't want him playing.
Hey,
I
bro,
don't
it's
think he's
absolutely fair. Pre-season, it's not competitive yet. It's not like a serious game. We can go rogue with our ratings if we want to. Only from Saturday onwards, we have to be a bit more serious. Bertram, a 5 from my end, a 4 from Pice's end. What would you give Alonso today?
Seems like I'm only agreeing with you. It's nothing against Pice. I would go with a 5 as well. I just thought he was just a bit better than Reece James, and it might be because of the standards as well. I just thought he was not bad, which automatically qualifies him for a 5. But I just thought he was just a bit better than Reece James. Reece James also had one of them come out earlier. So yeah.
Fair play. Sorry, what am I reading? Everton supporter was brought to take a penalty in a friendly match against Dynamo Kiev. Why are Everton bringing on fans to take penalties in the middle of a game? What's going on? But anyways, 2 5s, 1 4. We'll leave it at a 4.5. But let's get to much happier things. Our midfield, which was good, which I was very happy with. Let's start with Jorginho because he's the more defensive of the two. I thought Jorginho was brilliant. Of course, other than when we were hit on a break. But at some point, we need to just get over the fact that Jorginho is slow, right? It is what it is. Right? Do you know what I mean? Like, are any of you going to criticize Sterling for not scoring a header 7 foot up in the air? No, because he's too short. He can't do nothing about that. So why do people have a go at Jorginho for being too slow? Is what it is. But I thought he was wonderful. Like, some of his passing was great. He tried even more spectacular passes, which I just hope he keeps that going into the season and he doesn't stop those types of passes when there is something to lose, I suppose. Obviously, in a preseason game, it's easier to risk those. But I was very, very happy with him. I thought Jorginho was honestly, might even be my shot for man of the match, if I'm honest. I was very, very happy with him. I'm happy to give someone else the same rating or whatever, but I think I'm going to give Jorginho an 8. Maybe you guys won't go as high as me, but I was very, very pleased with him in the grand scheme of things. Bertram, 8 too high for you? Is it fair? What do you think? Bertram? Can you hear me? Maybe he can't hear me, and that's why he's not. Maybe he's frozen. Pice, you go then until we see Bertram again.
Yeah, I think Jorginho was really good. He definitely was more positive. As I said, that penetrative pass to Sterling was really nice. I liked that. Yeah, very, very positive. I think as well. I think this is going to be huge because Italy are not going to the World Cup, right? So he's going to have even more rest. You'd like to think, which should benefit him more next season.
Maybe some extra depression, but more rest.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think like genuinely though, like last season, bro, he played so many games. Like it was ridiculous, especially to the end of the season. So no wonder his performances dropped off. No wonder. And by the way, for the counter attack, Jorginho wasn't even the one chasing him. It was Mount.
No, not that
like,
specific one, but obviously we were hit a few times.
Yeah, but like for the goal, everyone was blaming Jorginho. I mean, he was next to Mount. Maybe he could have got across quicker and tried to tackle. But I don't know. And generally, like, of course, everyone knows his pace does limit us in terms of, he's just not athletic. So, we are going to get cut open at times. But, yeah, the positives far outweighed the negatives today. So, I mean, 8 is... What's the highest so far? Koulibaly's got...
7.
7. Yeah, I think he deserves an 8, definitely. Yeah.
Fair play. Now, just to react to Raven's comment here quickly, who says, same logic with Alonso then, because obviously said we need to just get over the fact that Jorginho is slow. Now, while I see your point, and obviously you thought put me checkmate here, I have a counterpoint to you that's very simple. Does Alonso have any positives? Or is he only slow?
Is Alonso good on the ball? No, he's horrific.
Yeah. Can he pass? No. Can he... Well, shoot, sometimes, yes. Can he head the ball? Yes. Problem, he's a left back. You know what I mean? That's why I just said if we played him striker, fine, no worries, absolutely brilliant. But he's not playing striker. He's playing a left wing back where you need to have pace. Like in midfield, there is some slow midfielders. Cesc Fabregas was the slowest shit midfielder, and we still praise him to the gods until this day, and rightly so, because he's one of the greatest passers of the ball this whole sport has ever seen. But he was still slow as shit. Pirlo, slow as shit. Like, you don't need to always be fast to be a good midfielder. But have you ever heard of a slow, great left back? I've not. I'm just saying. Okay. He's just kidding, he says. But, hey, I like that you brought up the conversation. Now, Bertram, you're back, but you don't have your camera on. So I'm not sure whether you're proper back or not. So either put something in a private chat or just start talking. You've not done either. So that is a concern. So for the time being, we'll just move on. Whenever I see you again, or whenever you hear me again, or whatever, then just jump in and I'll ask you your Jorginho rating. We'll leave it at that for the time being. Pice agreed with my 8. I'm very happy. N'Golo Kante. Now, I feel like I gave Bertram more of a chance to react to what I said about Kante in the beginning. But Pice, obviously in the group chat for a second, you disagreed. For a second. In the group chat earlier throughout the first half, because you and Charlie were saying how great he was, and he was in those moments. Like, especially the second shot that he had, which the goal he saved, reminded me so much of that goal against Liverpool that he scored against Stamford Bridge. It was like the way he rounded, like making a right turn, basically spinning 60 degrees and then trying to curl the top corner. So similar. But yeah, what would you give Kante, mate? And what did you think of what I said about Kante?
I mean, unless you can remind me of what instances you thought he was not as good on the ball as I thought, then...
I mean,
I don't know.
It's difficult to say, it's this minute, but I remember we had one attack where we were attacking. Alonso was on the left, Mount was on the left, Kante was in the middle, Sterling was a little bit to his right, but basically straight ahead of him, and Havertz was to his right. And instead of just passing it to Alonso or Mount, and Mount could have literally been one-on-one with the goalkeeper, he stopped, waited, Udinese got their defense settled, and...
Oh, I remember that. I remember that moment.
And then he passed it off the pitch twice, and there was another couple of... Once he tried to pass it through ball to someone that he messed up super early in the game. He tried to through ball it to, I think, Sterling, overhit it and put it out of play, or in the goalkeeper's hands, whatever it is. There was a few times where he messed up, but there was still moments where he was absolutely incredible. He scored an absolute wonder goal, frankly, and it was just good to see his energy back. I'm just saying there was a few moments that he wasn't that great.
Yeah, well, I think I'm still going to go with an 8.5 because he was on for a perfect performance, but for things you said, like there was definitely a couple of times where he passed the ball. I think there was one off the pitch, but I'm still going to go higher than Jorginho because Kante personally was my, I'm going to say joint man of the match. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Actually, I don't know whether to go 8 or 8.5. I'm really stuck now. Maybe you have to let chat decide. I don't know.
You know what? That's a great idea, Pice. We haven't done a little poll in the chat.
Or a poll or something there. I don't know.
Exactly. That's what we're going to do. Now, Bertram has messaged me that his hotel Wi-Fi seems to be down, so he doesn't want to ruin the stream. I'm not sure if he'll come back or not. If not, thank you for coming on, mate. If yes, then we'll see you soon. But let me just write this poll in the chat. Kante rating out of 10? Question mark. And then I'll give you a few options. Because I don't want to just give you 2. It's a bit dead. Actually, do I just want to give you 2? Maybe I'll just give you 2, because I feel like it. Ladies and gentlemen, while I type out this poll, could you please subscribe, by the way, and smash the like button? I would massively appreciate it. And if you have any comments to make that you really need myself and Pice to really talk about, use the super chat function because I obviously can't see every chat message. There's too many people read to see every chat message. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say 7. 0.5 because I think it shouldn't get any. It shouldn't even be an option to be lower than that. 8, 8.5, and I'll go 9. Now, do I think it deserves a 9? No, but I put it in there. Maybe some of you guys do. So I put it in the chat. I've put it in the poll. It's at the very top of the chat. That you should in a second now see the poll. Please leave your vote, all of you. I will see how many of you are voting, and I do know that there's 300 of you here. So I do need to see some votes here, please, ladies and gentlemen. So please get that going. But yeah, I mean, so far we have exactly 14 votes, and so far the 8.5 is winning. But I will give you a little minute. And for the time being, I'll just write down 8/8.5, and then I'll get back to it in a few minutes, and we'll see what you guys have decided. But let's get to the front three before we get to the subs later on. Who shall we start with? Shall we make it a positive, negative, positive thing? So let's start with Mount. Yeah, obviously we spoke about that one moment where he should have either shot or squared it to Sterling better or sooner, or Sterling should have just waited, then it would have been a tap in as well. But other than that moment, I thought Mount was very... Oh, and he missed also one-on-one like Sterling did earlier or at some point in the first half, which should have done better with. But otherwise, I thought Mount was very good. He was fighting. He set up Sterling for his huge chance, so arguably Mount should have had an assist, really. I thought he had a good game. I didn't really have much of a complaint. I mean, I don't know. Now that you're considering the 8.5 for Kante, that makes me want to go a bit higher for Mount. That makes me also want to go higher for Jorginho, if I'm honest. But because I was going to, aside from the potential 8.5 for Kante from you in the chat, I was just going to give Mount a 7.5. I think it was very good, but just not quite as good as Jorginho. That's what I thought. Pies, what do you think?
I was going to go 7.5 or 8, just because of the amount of chances he messed up. I mean, I know you may disagree, but I honestly think the one way pass to Sterling, like, if that happened in a Premier League game, people would want to rip his head off. Like, I don't know why he didn't shoot. But, you know, it's a preseason game. Just don't happen next week, please. Like, if that happened live on TV, people were like, Mount, what the fuck are you doing? So, I don't know. I was a bit like that. I like hit my head. I was like, what is he doing? Like, why is he not shot? But, yeah, I'll go with an 8 because you know why? I really liked his work rate. I really liked, you know, I think when he plays well, he's vital to Chelsea playing well. So I'm going to go with an 8 because he's just been so consistent, man. Like there's no preseason vibes for Mount. Like he's on it all the time. You know what I mean? So, and I appreciate that. So I'm going to go with an 8.
You know what? I let you have it. I do kind of see what you're saying. And even just, you know, what I criticized for Reece that he looks maybe a little bit lackluster, which maybe it's also a little bit just of what he looks like in his character. But yeah, I do agree with you. You never see Mount not trying. You never see, like, he might sometimes mess things up, but you never see him not being bothered. Like you just never see that. And some people might be harsh, but hey. And Harry Potter is currently busy. I do apologize. But let's get to Raheem Sterling. Let's get to Raheem. No, I said we're going to do a sandwich. Kai Havertz. It's not a sandwich on screen, but it's a sandwich of good player, bad player, good player. Today. Havertz, he just keeps struggling. Now, I thought he dislocated his shoulder when he fell in the first half, like Ziyech did in the Super Cup last year, which would have been, well, unfortunate, but at the same time, well, with how Havertz is playing, how much will we really miss? Now, he does good things sometimes, and then he just ends them with pointless things, like that one touch he had to push himself past the defender, and then he didn't quite get enough power on it to beat the goalie. That was so good, but then the finish just quite wasn't there. And those are and I think at the moment, I think it's almost becoming a little bit of a trend within the Chelsea fan base and football, like, you know, Chelsea football Twitter to become a Havertz hater. I feel like that's the new trend now. People got a bit bored of hating on Mount, and he was like just a bit too good for people to hate on him. So now they all just decided, okay, we can't hate on Mount anymore. He's too good. So now let's find the next guy to hate. So now they're hating on Havertz. That's what I feel like. I'm not saying criticism isn't justified. It most certainly is. But and I felt the same when Mount was criticized. Like, compare what Havertz does and what he's done before and compare it to Alonso. And then Havertz gets trillion times more hate than Alonso does. Sure, part of it is because no one cares about Alonso anymore. But still, I just find that a bit weird. But on the basis of today, he just wasn't very good. Like, they had a good chance as well, but he should have done a bit better with. Like, it's just not been good. But I will also say, why is he playing in this position? Like, if he's not playing up top, like Clutch, as unhappy as he was, said, if Sterling's playing up top but not on the left, should Havertz be even in the front three? Because I don't think so.
I mean,
Even
they
on the
did
basis of
switch a lot.
I think then it should be Pulisic in the front three and not Havertz if he's not going to play in the middle.
They did switch a lot though, to be fair, bro. Like I noticed
They
Havertz
did
up front
switch a lot, but still,
of
like,
times.
I still feel, especially the parts where we were best in the game, which was early in the game. Sterling was certainly a lot, or for the most part, in the middle, I would have said. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a fair point. They rotated around a lot, but you could still do that rotation stuff with Pulisic. But if we're not going to use Havertz's height anyway, no high crosses or no useful long balls to him, then if you're not going to purely play him in the middle to provide that with a mix of also being able to move and play and whatever, then why not just play Pulisic? I don't understand personally. But yeah, I don't think he was very good. I'm going to give him a 4 like I gave Reece James. I just think he was poor, honestly.
Whoa,
maybe a 4 is harsh.
Jeez.
I'm going to give him a 5.
That was a lot. Bloody hell. I thought I was going to be harsh. I was going to give him a 6. I thought.
All right. No, give him a 5. Give him a 5. A 6,
yeah?
okay.
Oh.
See, sometimes maybe I just let myself get a little bit fooled by what people say on Twitter, and I was assuming you was going to go 2.
No. I was going to go 6 or maybe 5.5. Yeah, I mean, I'll go 5.5. There's 2 of us, so I mean, probably come down to chat again, but. Yeah, I mean, you've pretty much explained it all. Like, I just feel like with Havertz at the moment, I don't get that sense of like, I don't know if conviction's the right word, but like when he's running, like I don't think Havertz fully believes in himself. Like, you know, when he was taking on that guy, I'm just like, there's no conviction in that run. Like, there's no. Is there a belief when he gets on the ball that he's actually going to dribble past him, or I don't know. He didn't have. Did he have? Yeah, he had that volley, didn't he? But I watched it on second replay, and the defender did just about enough to put him off. It was a nice first touch, but the other one, I don't really know. He's just, I don't know.
He's struggling. That's for
sure.
Yeah,
he's just a bit weak for me at the moment. Like, there's no like. Like there was no really nice bits of play where I'm like, apart from where he won that foul and he was going to beat that guy. And the guy
he should have won a penalty, by the way. We forgot to mention that.
Yeah, true.
Clearly won a penalty, and for some reason the referee didn't give it.
Yeah, true. I don't know. I don't think we're being too harsh. It's just like,
I'll agree with at least your 5.5. If you want to go 6, you can go, bro.
No, I'll go 5.5. But yeah, I do agree. He's definitely lacking some X factor at the moment. Like, he doesn't seem to be, like, compared to Mount and Sterling today. Like, I thought they kind of ran the show compared to him, to be honest.
For sure, I do agree. Again, don't think it was helped by Reece James having a poor game, but then again, on the other side is Alonso, and Mount found a way. So there you go. Let's get to Raheem Sterling. His first Chelsea goal. Good to see. He didn't know much about it as he tried to, mug off the keeper. Sit him down and then chip him. But unfortunately, the keeper read it a bit too quick, and then the chip wasn't high enough. But from the goalie, he bounced back onto Sterling and then over the goalie into the goal. And a goal's a goal. Like, I'd rather us score goals like that than no goals at all. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not sure what rating I'm going to give him. Now, I would have probably given him the same 7.5 I gave Mount, because I think, they both had equally as many good and bad moments, really. Well, actually, maybe Sterling. Well, the thing is, and I know that most people will find this ridiculous, but I think for the Havertz square and the Mount square, I think that's just Sterling being a new teammate. But I actually think in that situation, Sterling shouldn't start the run or shouldn't run as far as he did. Again, he might have been doing that at City, but we don't do that. So I think, again, there's no criticism of him. I'm just saying that's a normal misunderstanding that happens between new players. That's why players, when they don't know each other, they need a bit of time. And I say that. I know Mount and Sterling play together for England, but that's the, 6 games a season? Do you know what I mean?
And also, England are just dog shit. Don't get me started on England. I
Even
can't stand watching my own country. I never want to watch them. I just don't like it. There's never any chemistry for England ever. Like, I just don't.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like, maybe that's taking too much blame with the other guys, but like for the Havertz square, the people had to go, "Oh, he should have played that like not behind Sterling." I'm like, well, Sterling ran to the goal line and the goalie jumped across. So if he tried to play it to Sterling, then the goalie would have intercepted it, and people would have criticized that even more. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe he could have squeezed it under him, but you don't know how the goalie's gonna. Is he gonna go jump fully low, or is he gonna jump a bit higher? Like, the goalie's just guessing, like on a penalty, really. But yeah, I was going to give him the same 7.5. But if you're gonna give him the same 8, I'm also going to let him have the 8, just like we gave Mount, mate. So, do you think he warrants the same 8 as Mount, or would you potentially even go higher than Mount? I haven't even thought of that.
I was just gonna say, as you was talking about the Havertz cut, like I've just got it on repeat. You know, the really annoying thing is that the ball bobbles when he passes it,
Yeah.
so it goes
And that's
higher.
why it goes
like
off the ground, which makes it more difficult to control.
So you know, if it's across the floor, it's a tapping. But the fact it bobbles, Sterling then
But even
has
if
to
it's
go for
across the floor,
touch.
it's behind Sterling, though. So, or do you think then he would have been able to take it on straight away?
I'm watching it literally on slow mo right now. It's very hard to say. Like it's not in front of him, but it's level with his left foot. So I don't know. It's a hard one. Maybe I'll send it to you later and see what you think. But yeah, I was going to go with Sterling for an 8 because although he did miss a few chances, I just think his all-round game was really, really good. And I didn't honestly expect him to play this well in the central position. So yeah, just technically,
I mean, he didn't do that
so
many things
good.
well in the central position, but he played well even though he played. Do you know what I'm trying to say with that?
I just think he was
had
so
his
good
2
on the ball. Like
chances,
he
but
had so
otherwise,
many runs. Like he
yeah,
had so many
no,
like
100%.
runs. He won fouls. Like, and you know, as I was saying, the front three. Like I noticed personally, Havertz up front a lot as well. So like I liked how they just interchanged, and him
Yeah.
and Mount had more of a connection, as I said, than they do for England. So I don't know.
But
Maybe that's
I'm
just
sure it
like.
helps them that they know each other at least a little bit
Oh
from
yeah,
him,
yeah,
and it will
sure,
take
sure.
Sterling
Yeah,
a bit
yeah.
longer with other players, probably.
Yeah, they will. Sterling and Havertz, they're definitely going to have to form a bit more of a connection, but you know,
I'm sure
there's
they
something
will.
already there with him and Mount. So I'm going to give him an 8 though because I do think it was a very good performance overall.
Yeah, fair
Yeah,
play.
like
Yeah.
you know,
I
like
can understand.
every time like he ran at the Udinese defenders, like they were just backing off him. They didn't want to engage and stuff like that, and you know, so I think an 8. Yeah,
I do hear it. I do hear it. You know what I enjoy most about him? Like someone like MKZ says here, like his turns. 100%, those are great. But what I love about him, he's always quick. Like even when he's jogging, even his jogging is quick. Do you know what I mean?
it's like you just want to watch him, right? Like he's just so like agile and like smooth, like you know what I mean? Like you can tell
exactly.
he's played for Man City and under Pep. Like he's just different to our attackers. It's
No,
like it's nice.
it's true.
We've got
It's a
someone
pet peeve,
new.
unfortunately.
We've got someone nice to watch for once. Like, I don't know.
Exactly. No, it is true. It's just, like I say, I just like Werner can be fast when he really puts on the burners, but I feel like on average he just runs around at 30% pace. And sometimes I feel like about Pulisic too. When Pulisic runs after a ball, he's not slow, but he's not like fast. But Sterling, even when he's not going full pelt, he's always just running a bit quicker than everyone around him. And it's just, I love that. I enjoy that because
Pulisic has lost pace as well, don't you think? Like, and
he
Hudson-Odoi,
certainly
like
has, but
definitely.
I still feel like he could probably run quicker, more consistently. But I still feel like since he had so many hamstring injuries, I think he purposely doesn't do that anymore. When he needs to, he can still put it on and go super quick for a sprint or two when he wants to. But I feel like he doesn't. He purposely doesn't. I feel like like he's too young to have actually gotten slower. So I just feel like it might be almost purposely doing it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's difficult to judge that one. I've always felt, but yeah, like I was going to say, pace is just one of those things in football that are such a crucial part that no matter how good or bad you are at the actual game of football, pace will always be useful. And then you have Sterling, who's also good at other things, and then you have Werner, who's not good at any other things and also got slow, which is half the problem. But when you have a player that's good at football and fast, like that's such a, no matter who you are, it's such a dangerous combination.
Bro, imagine Werner was good technically. Like, he would be a really good player. Imagine if he had a good touch, but he just doesn't, so he's crap. Like, it's
Mate,
as simple as
if
that.
Werner was somewhat decent technically, he would basically be Salah, just on the other
He'd be
side.
brilliant, yeah, because he's rapid and he makes good runs. It's just he's crap on the ball. So it is what it is, isn't it?
And crap when the pressure's on in front of goal, unfortunately, as well, which is the next issue. But what I haven't done yet is write down the subs. Now, we made 2 set of subs. First, the triple substitution, which was Callum Hudson-Odoi coming on for Reece James, Kai Havertz being replaced by Harvey Vale, and Koulibaly being replaced by Emerson. Obviously, Koulibaly, just because he'd only played 25 minutes so far, he was probably not fully ready for 90 yet, but I fully expect him to play the 90 against Everton. next Saturday. Everything going to plan. And then Jorginho was subbed off and replaced by Billy Gilmore, which was great to see. And I also thought he played reasonably well. And then also Sterling was replaced by Kennedy, which shifted our formation around in ways I didn't fully understand. I don't know, was Vale in the middle in the end? I don't really know. Also, why did Callum stay at wing back when Kennedy came on? I don't know. But Callum still got the assist in the end for Mason Mount, which we still need to talk about. But let's start at the back. Now, you can fully dish out all the NAs you want if you want, mate, because I'm not sure how much
I'm not going to lie. I was going to say for me, Emerson, NA, Vale, I don't think he was... There was a couple of times where he got the ball in the box, but didn't really do anything. Like, he wasn't... I don't know, I thought he could have been a little bit sharper, but again, I mean, he hasn't played much, so... you know, I don't know. What do you rate him? Probably another NA or a 6. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those. You see that NA or it's a 6. Like, he didn't do much wrong, but he didn't do anything specifically right. The only really positive moment I remember was when he was in a little bit of a kerfuffle with like 2 or 3 defenders, but he somehow won the ball and still passed it to a teammate and kept the ball. So that was good. But that was
I just want to know what you thought of Kennedy, because I don't think CFC Dubois was trolling. Apparently, he was. I don't know. He thought he was really good or something. I don't know.
I mean, I didn't notice. Sterling is not an Sterling. Kennedy is not an awful player. He has 2 big problems. Number one, he's so one-footed. It's crazy. Potentially even more than Hakim Ziyech, and that says something. And then he just doesn't seem to know how to put his talent that is clearly there. Like, he has a good strike in him. He's got some decent pace in him. He's got some vision in him. Like, he knows he has he's not bad. But I just feel like he doesn't really... It's almost like, I don't know. I know Price is not big into cars, but it's like when you have a car with too much horsepower but really bad wheels, and instead of driving fast, you're just spinning your wheels. That's what Kennedy sometimes feels like, or his whole career feels like that. Like, we signed a super talented Brazilian, and he just seems no better than he was when we signed him, even though we signed him when he was like, 16? Like, he seems like the identical player to at the time, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's probably why he hasn't succeeded. I don't know whether it's mentality or, like, he definitely has ability.
Had a good loan at Granada as well a couple of seasons ago, playing Europa League.
You know what? People are going to hate me for this, but I often think that about Ross Barkley as well. Like, Ross Barkley's natural ability for me, like, he definitely has natural ability.
He just doesn't have a football brain, man.
Yeah, it's never clicked for him, really. Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe...
Like, his pace, shooting, both-footed, strong...
that pass really against Southampton at home last season where it started that attack, like, when is Jorginho played the pass to Havertz for Newcastle, but like, I was just like, Barkley did that, like,
yeah, it's mad, man. Like, it's still by far the best pass that any of our players played last season. I found it.
Yeah, like, how do we remember a pass that, you know, top 3 passes is probably Ross Barkley? Like, it's it's funny.
yeah, I can't remember what other special passes did we have last season. Jorginho had one.
I think Kovacic is one.
Yeah,
Kovacic versus
Lukaku against Villa at home.
Yeah, that was
over the top that Havertz controlled then, and then against Newcastle last minute, and that Barkley one. I would say those are the top 3.
Yeah, definitely missing ones, but I'm going to get roasted in chat now because I don't have knowledge from last season.
Would we not remember them if they weren't that great?
Yeah. I don't know. Someone's definitely going to catch me out with some unreal pass that I've just forgotten.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, guys. But NA for Kennedy all the same, mate, or would you give him a rating?
Honestly, I was going to say NA because I didn't notice him. Did he play a pass that started an attack or a goal or something?
I think. Did he play the over the top goal to Callum, which Callum assisted with?
He must have done something because Dubois, I don't know where he was trolling, but he was banging on about how
someone in the chat said it like 5 minutes ago as well, so that's why I'm thinking maybe it's true, you know?
Yeah, he was banging on about, he was so good off the bench, and I'm like, bro, I didn't even notice him. The hell? Fuck.
Fair play. Hey, like, if I was going to give him a rating, I would probably give him like a 6, 6.5. Maybe a bit better than Vale, I would say. Like, I noticed him more, even though he played less. But at the end of the day, if you don't have much of an opinion, then it's just my rating, and that's pointless. Let's go to Billy Gilmore. I watch him play again, and I'm again like, why did he have such a bad loan in Norwich? Why did Tuchel decide to send him to the under-23s? When I see that kid play, I just don't see how anyone doesn't think he's amazing. That honestly, that's what like. I'm not saying he always does everything great, but everything he does looks like a footballer that's good at football. Like, compare it to someone like Bakayoko. He gets the ball and you see you can't do it. Werner, you give him the ball, you see he can't do it. I can't lie. Gallagher against Arsenal looked like you give him the ball, he looked like he can't do it. Gilmour, okay, it was Udinese, not Arsenal, but he just looks like he's like, obviously he lacks height. Obviously he lacks strength. And maybe a little bit of sprint speed, as much as that sounds bad. Like his acceleration is actually decent, but he's full on top speed is not great. He lacks those things for sure, but he's technically so gifted. And it honestly, it's one of those baffling things where it's like Emerson and Alonso. I don't understand how every manager, even Sarri, preferred Alonso over Emerson for the most part. I will never understand. I will never see it. I don't know how or why that's possible. And it's the same with, I don't see why Gilmour was sent to the under-23s this preseason. I don't get it. Now, do I have much of a rating to give him? No. But it just looks like he can play football, doesn't he? Like, it just looks
he's very good technically. I watched the game where the under-23s game the other day where they played Real Salt Lake. It was late at night. I was bored. I thought I'd watch it. Gilmour was playing with Vale. Gilmour was amazing. And I got to see that technical side of him because obviously in the under-23s, I think he captained them. You know, he was kind of center of attention of everything. But he's amazing technically in the middle of the park. He's miles clear of Gallagher on the ball. It's just, I don't know why. I don't know whether it's that Tuchel prefers Gallagher's work rate and tenacity, or I don't know. But in terms of technical ability, Gilmour is streets clear. No one can debate that. So I would be very, very upset if he's sold. But at the same time, like I don't. I'd have him in the midfield as options. But you think of how many midfielders we got, and the fact that Gallagher's staying. Well, how realistic then is it that Gilmour stays? So it's like I don't know.
And we still have Ampadu. So
yeah. He's good, bro.
By the way, a bit of news on that front. Broja and some other youngster. Who else was given a number? Batshuayi, not a youngster. But Broja and Batshuayi were both given squad numbers, and Gilmour and Ampadu were not. Now, my initial reaction was maybe it's just because Broja and Ampadu are youth players anyway. You don't need to register them in the 25. Because you can play it basically unlimited youth players. And because they're both under a certain age limit and homegrown, it's fine. But that counts for Broja all the same, and he was still given a number. So that doesn't really explain anything. The only explanation with Gilmour I would have is that Kennedy has the 23 at the moment, and was Gilmour's number before he went on loan. So maybe that's why they haven't secured a number, because if Kennedy leaves, Gilmour gets 23. No, but Gilmour is probably leaving as well, whether it's permanent or on loan. But yeah, let's give him that NA. Callum Hudson-Odoi, even though he played, well, the same amount of minutes as Everton and Vale, I think he warrants a rating. Now, do I think he has... my big problem with Callum when he plays wing-back is that he doesn't seem to understand how far forward he's allowed to go. He sometimes feels to me that because he's actually an attacker and not a defender, that's why he overdoes it with staying back, because he doesn't want to overcommit forward, because he's probably scared of that in himself. And like, oh yeah, like the manager's put me right where I can't overdo it attackingly. And that almost leads him to underdo it in terms of how often he goes forward. Because, and I said this earlier when I criticized Reece James a little bit for the performance today, that cross was really good. And no one else played a cross of that level. And he had another good cross as well, which there was no one in the middle for it. Well, it's a great cross, and there should be someone in the middle for it. Now, you can always argue when there's no one in the middle for the cross, should the cross have come, because you see that no one's there. But it was a great cross. It's easy tapping for Mount in the end. I would give Callum a 6.5 with a star, of course, because it was a sub. What would you give him, Heis? Or would you give him an NA as well? I think if you get an assist, you need a rating.
Yeah, no, I'd agree, to be fair. Get the assist. It was positive. I still don't want him playing wing back, but it is what it is. I'm guessing he's going to play there. And yeah, I mean, from the right side, you know, Clutch always says this as well, you know, to me, you can use his crossing ability more on the right-hand side. So, yeah, I'll give him a 6.5. I don't think you can go any higher or lower. I think it's perfect.
Yeah. That's fair. Now, Pice, because obviously it's ended up being quite a bit of this just being us two anyway. Shall we touch on some news as well? Because I think for preseason game, to give Tuchel a rating is a bit pointless. I mean, we can do a performance rating if you want, would you know where to go if I asked you for a performance rating, mate?
See, for me, I'd go very high because I liked watching the game. But again, you've got to take in, like, we missed chances.
And it's not exactly the best opponent either.
Yeah, it's not the best opponent. But at the same time, like, I kind of hate, like, I saw a lot of this on Twitter. It's like, well, Udinese was so crap. But if we played crap, then everyone would be like, well, why didn't why didn't we
But
play
then it's
well?
extra crap if you play crap against a crap team.
Like, I don't know. I don't know if they are crap. Like, did we just make them look bad?
I mean, they came 12th in Serie A. They can't be that good.
But then Charlotte are crap and Club America are crap, and we drew. So
that is true. But can you honestly tell me that Udinese looked any better than those two? Because I didn't.
But then I think we deserve credit because we played miles better.
The team was arguably worse. Sorry?
Yeah, but I think then we deserve credit though, because then I just think with the way we played, we swatted them up, like we suffocated them, like they didn't have a chance to play football.
Maybe we just are suited to playing Italian teams like that, because I feel like the reason why our press was as intense, why our two midfielders were as high, is because Udinese allowed that, because they never had enough men forward to really threaten us. So when you do that, we can just push and push and push. Now, it doesn't always work at home in the Premier League and stuff, but the problem in that is it's the Premier League. So you are more concerned about conceding on the break, so you're less willing to maybe take the risks that we took today in a friendly with the midfield. Now, I personally would give the performance a 7. I think it was good, but I think it was nothing special. And I think that the 3-1 at the very end masks what before that was just disappointing, that it was just 2 goals by that point rather than 5-6. And that's why, because we should have scored so much more, I don't think I can't go any higher than 7 for me. Also, if I look at the rating, only 4 players have higher than 7, and a lot of them have under 7, and 2 have 7. So I feel like, obviously, that's not quite how it goes. I understand, but yeah.
I'm going to go 7.5.
That's fair.
Just to be awkward as well.
All good, bro. All good. Let's just finish this Kante one off. We had 188 votes, so if you still want to get your vote in, ladies and gentlemen, do that very quickly, because I will press end poll in just a second. But as things stand, Kante's rating out of 10, even though I would have given him an 8, and Pice was, maybe 7.5, but kind of an 8. But Pice was thinking more of the 8.5. We put out the poll for you. 10% voted 7.5. 24% voted 8. 28%. So more gave him a 9 than gave him an 8, which I think is interesting, but fair enough. Gave him a 9, like I say. And 38%, clear winner in this poll, gave him a rating of 8.5 out of 10 for the days, which crowns Kante as the man of the match. Do I personally necessarily agree? Maybe not. I don't know. But it was certainly up there with the best players, that's for sure. But yeah, let's end that one. And like I said, Pice, just a couple of news to maybe touch on, which we didn't touch on a couple of days ago when I wanted to stream, but then we didn't stream. And then there was no news the next day, and that was a bit depressing. But
there's been no news.
I have one big question for you. Now, we all saw the statements by Monchi today, right? And he said, okay, we found an agreement. Then we backed out because we were unsure. Then Barcelona came in. And he said, then we came back in. Do you believe that we came back in again at the end bit? Do you believe that or not?
No, I think we kept our bid in the whole time.
Why would he make that up? That's the part I don't understand. Like, what benefit does he gain from saying we came back in? Like, what difference does it make to the story? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do see your point. I don't know. Like, the bit that gets me is the whole, like, then we had doubts after you agreed a deal. What do you mean you had doubts after you agreed a deal? Like, is that Tuchel? Like, it must be. Like, why? But then again, why the hell would Boehly bid?
If you had doubts, why did the bid go in the first place? Is it miscommunication?
£55 million as well. £55 million pounds.
What do you think? Do you think that's a miscommunication between Boehly and Tuchel, and that's how that happened? Or do you think it's Tuchel changing his mind?
I think Tuchel changed his mind. If what Monchi's saying is true, I think Tuchel changed. There's no way Boehly is going to bid for Kounde by his own. He doesn't even know the guy. Let's be serious.
That's what I'm saying. I said that.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
the problem that Boehly doesn't know these people, that is a problem. But he wanted Marina to stay and she didn't. So, like, you know, that ship has sailed now. That's why he needs Tuchel for help now.
By the way, can I just mention as well, it's an absolute absolute mess on these defenders because. So I watched Fabrizio's video this morning, and he revealed that. So after we decided, or after Barca had agreed with Kounde, Todd Boehly was phoning up agents and things, and they decided to go back in for Nathan Ake. So they tempted or tried to tempt City with a bigger bid for Nathan Ake than we already had, which was what 40 million or whatever. City then called Sevilla and saw if they could hijack the Kounde deal as Ake's replacement,
which makes not even any sense because Ake played left back half the time for City. So what did they do with Kounde?
But it was too late, and then City decided to keep Ake. So I do not have a Scooby-Doo what is going on with these defenders. It is blowing my mind.
I mean, how can we? When we decide to back out of Kounde, how can our next choice be Ake? Like they are the complete opposite side of the back three. Like
as Tuchel just said, go back to Ake or what? I don't. Did Tuchel say actually, go back for Ake? I don't understand this. Like the fuck? Like, I don't know who's telling the truth.
I mean, way to convince Kimpembe to come. That's what I want to see. You managed him. Apparently, you got on well. Tell Thiago Silva to give him a phone call. Tell Kante to give him a phone call. I don't care. Find a way. That's in my opinion. We're so desperate now. Just get Kimpembe. Because who even is there now for right-footed centre-backs left, right? That we're having with Skriniar, but I feel like I might be a bit concerned about his lack of pace personally.
Everyone's hoping for Fofana. That's the thing this week. But I mean, from Monday to Friday, there's been nothing coming out the club. So whether or not they're trying to keep it behind closed doors now, because everything that's been in the media has screwed us up so far. We're leaking negotiations and everything. But there's literally been no news from any reporters. But on the Kounde thing specifically, like you had Monchi saying that, you had Romain Molina, that French Liga guy, was saying that. What did he say again? It was something about Chelsea were never even interested in Kounde. Mendes used the bid as leverage to get him to Barcelona. I think I read a Sevilla source which said that Tuchel said Kounde would be playing right wing back and Kounde didn't like it, as well as right centre back. So I don't know what to believe, to be honest with you. Do I trust Monchi? No. At the same time, why would Monchi lie and make all that up? Like, what you said.
I mean,
he doesn't have a relationship.
It looks better for explaining why they sold Kounde to a league rival, maybe. But at that point, after he said we backed out, at that point you've already explained that, though, right? So why do you need the extra bit that's a lie? Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like we did enough of their job to explain that for them.
Like for me was the bit where he said, they then had doubts over the profile of the player. That is what he said. They had doubts over the profile.
I know.
Yeah. So if Tuchel, if we agreed a fee and then Tuchel was like, actually, nah, then that's ridiculous. Like, as much as I love Tuchel, you can't do that. Like, make your mind up. You gotta just make your mind up.
Like, you have to.
That's why I said this morning. I think Tuchel knows what positions we want, but in terms of individual players, I don't think.
But does he? Considering he goes from Kounde to Ake, it doesn't even sound like he is sure on that.
I don't know. It's a hard one to judge because who knows the truth.
I have a question for you. You might know that better than I do. Doesn't Fofana? He's right-footed. We all know that, but hasn't he also played on the left of Leicester's back 4 and 3 when deployed? So wouldn't that be another right-footed that's actually more used to playing on the left, like Koulibaly?
I think he does play more on the right, but I have seen him off the left before. I think was it in the where did he back? I can't remember exactly where he played in the cup final against us, but he was amazing.
Left of a back 3.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was the left as well. I think you might be right. Yeah.
Well, again, I mean, to be fair, we don't know how, but he might be so good that might be worth it. And then one of Fofana, Koulibaly will be absolutely fine on the right side, which I'm sure both of them probably will be. But still, it's just what I'm not questioning necessarily the targets. I was happy with all of the targets, other than I'm not the biggest fan of Ake. I'm not the biggest fan of Skriniar for different reasons. But I'm okay in general with the targets that we've looked at. But they just don't correlate to each other. Like, I just think they are very different types of targets. And I know there was talk about that we want 2 more centre-backs, so 3 including Koulibaly. I get that. But again, number one, my big thing is stop telling your centre-back targets that they're going to play wing-back, because they don't want to play wing-back. So stop telling them that, because no one's going to want to hear that. I understand being honest and everything is all well and good, but we're trying to sign players here. It's not about being honest. It's about being effective. That's what we're doing here. To worry about being honest with them when they have any problems. Just bring them in and then worry about that later. Do you know what I mean? Like, It's difficult for me. And then there was the Dumfries link, Dumfries, but I think in Dutch is pronounced Dumfries. But anyway, 2 days ago. But that was like one report and nothing since really. So when that's the first report, I was like, finally something for wingback that I'm a fan of.
Mate, honestly, there's been from Monday to Friday. Like, you know how much I cover the news reports and stuff. There's been nothing coming out that I would class as reliable. Like, there's been nothing concrete. There's been no stories building up. Fofana, he's been acting suspicious on social media with the whole Chelsea following and stuff. But he could just be pissing about.
Is that true?
Yeah, so this is actually 100% true because I was
Charlie Mutunda all over again.
not stalking, but I definitely noticed. So I can't tell you exact times, but there was a day, I think it was yesterday actually. So he followed Mendy, Koulibaly, James, and a couple of others, I think. And then I checked an hour later, and he'd unfollowed them all, and I was like, "The hell." But he recently followed Reece James on Instagram, and he hasn't unfollowed Reece yet. So I don't know. It was very, very weird though. Like he 100% followed them and unfollowed them. I don't know whether he got told off or I don't know. This is what I'm saying. What's happening behind the scenes? Because unless he's just pissing about, you know what I mean? On his social media, his friend posted a picture of Fofana in a Chelsea shirt saying this will look good on you, bro. Like just teasing us and all that. And then Fofana then reposted his mate that posted the Chelsea photo. So people were like, well, that's a bit suspicious. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why is he posting that picture now? Like, I don't know. It's weird.
It's weird. And can you just tell me now, we had the report that Pavard would be interested in joining Chelsea if Chelsea made a serious offer. But please, maybe I'm doing him a little bit of an injustice, and sometimes I don't follow the Bundesliga as close. And even when I do buy and have the ball so much, you don't automatically pay that much attention to their right back, especially when their left back, when he doesn't have heart problems, is Davies, who's basically a left winger anyway, which means their right back is much more defensive. But they had a really poor defense last season. So, and I always, when I looked at Bayern, I always felt Pavard is their weak link.
I don't know.
I've never seen him play right wing back either. So, why?
Honestly, I've watched him a couple of times for France, but I don't watch Bayern. I don't want to pass judgment. A lot of people saying he's crap. Some people say he's decent. I don't know. I've not watched him much, to be honest.
I don't think he's going to be diabolical, theoretically, if he were to come. But I feel like he's still living off that goal at the World Cup. The absolute scream over volley he scored. I feel like everyone's like, "Oh, he must be great. I've seen that, and that's it." Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not about that. Do you know what I mean? I like I say, I'm not the biggest fan of Skriniar either, but I'd then rather that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Bayern are stuck with bloody Lucas Hernandez anyway, who is awful for them. But no, I don't want him because if you're awful for Bayern, God knows how awful you're going to be for us. So, I don't really know. Let's see what happens. All I can say is we need signings ASAP. We need a centre back.
The thing is,
we need wing backs. Chile isn't 100% fit clearly, so I want a left wing back.
The thing is with Pavard is that you don't have to convince him to playing right wing back because he has played there like that. He's with Kounde.
He only played right back.
No, I'm pretty sure he's played right back, right wing back. I think he played everywhere. I'm pretty sure. A couple of Bayern fans were saying that to me on Twitter, but I don't know.
I think Nagelsmann, to be fair, they have maybe once or twice gone to a back three, to be fair, which they use. Because Bayern before Nagelsmann, they never played a back three.
I just feel like that's such a Chelsea transfer to do. Like, you miss out for Fana. Let's get Pavard.
It seems like Saul all over again to me.
It just seems like such a Chelsea deal to do. I just don't want. I don't want it to happen because it doesn't excite me, but then it could surprise me. I don't know. It's just not one of those.
So on transfer market, it says main position right back, other positions centre back, left back. No mention of right wing back. But I do also not know for sure whether they usually mention right wing backs or not.
I agree with you. I want a centre back. I want an actual centre back, bro. Because Pavard just feels like one of those guys at me when Tuchel's gone. It's like, what's the use for him then? I don't know how long Tuchel's going to be here, but if he leaves, in the next year or two, then why'd you buy Pavard? Like, unless you get another back three manager, like you want him back up right back, well, that's a waste of 30 million and get others that are better. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point?
It is absolutely. I mean, Luis Garcia saying Cucurella, yeah, but if even City can't agree if the deal, can we? Like,
I wanted 50 million, bro. City walked away.
Yeah, but say we were to offer those 50 million, would Cucurella take that, or would he wait a year and know next year I can join Man City? Would that be worth it for him? I don't know. I mean, we could. In my opinion, we should try it. But the problem on the left is that we have Emerson, Alonso, theoretically Babarahman as well, and a Chilwell where we don't know when he'll be good again or fully good again. We don't know. But yeah, I think we're going to come to the end of this stream. James Doran, I appreciate you for tuning in, mate. Just joined. Will there be a stream for tomorrow's game? Now, I'm not 100% sure yet because it's at 10 a.m. UK time in the morning. I'm not sure. I mean, it is Saturday, to be fair. So maybe I will. Maybe there will be. I'll text some people. I don't know if Pice will be about or whatever. I'll text some people and see whether we do one. I can't promise or deny just yet, but find out tomorrow. And to make sure that you don't miss the stream in case there is a stream tomorrow, subscribe. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to round this out like I just said. Still 200 of you here. I appreciate it very, very much. So please do subscribe on your way out. We're getting ever closer to that big 15,000 subscribers. Smash the like button for me. Just one click of a button. Doesn't cost you any money. Barely cost you any time and really helps me or helps us spread these videos out to more new people, which is how we grow. But yeah, big shout out to Pice for joining us. Big shout out to Bertrand for joining us as well. Unfortunately, his hotel Wi-Fi gave up halfway through. But shout out to him. Please check out Pice's website, chelseafc365.com, and of course, his Twitter as well. But yeah, Pice, thank you for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and watching. We finally won a game again, which is great news. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow, seemingly. I'm looking forward to next week. But I'm also ready to be depressed next Saturday. So let's see how things go. Hopefully, we have at least one, ideally 2 signings by the time we play Everton, even if they won't be involved against Everton. I need this stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, Everton onwards, and we'll see you next time.